We are back racing on two wheels and it is cyclocross time, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, summer cyclocross. The sun is sort of out, and when I say cyclocross, I'm going to use that term loosely because I am racing a hardtail mountain bike. But we are going to go full gas. It's summer cyclocross, which only means one thing: 35 minutes of pain. Let's get into it. And it's lights out and away we go, and it was a second row start and it was mission get to the front as fast as possible. But you can see I'm absolutely sandwiched in right now and everyone is going full gas. There is testosterone everywhere, but yeah, it was full gas into this first corner, and you can see I'm in probably about 7th position, maybe 7th, 8th, and the goal is to move up as quick as possible. So you can see I'm trying to get around the outside here, but honestly when the pace is this high it's hard to move up. I tried to go up the inside and then bang, kicks and wheelers, shuts the door on me, and he is an aggressive rider. He's taken out Ben before, so he's a legend. But yeah, you can see here I've managed to move up a couple of spots, so I'm into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th place, so lovely jubbly, and it is just absolutely full gas right now. As I said, I am on a mountain bike. You can see I've snuck up the inside and Kingston Wheelers has shut the door again, so I didn't even gain a place there. But look already at first place. It's Andy in the Satonia kit is already starting to make to open up a gap. So that is why the start is so important, because once he gets a gap, he is a seriously strong, fast rider, and you're either going to have to blow your absolute biscuit trying to get bridge back onto him, or you need to get on his wheels straight away. So that second row start has punished me straight off the bat, but obviously I didn't race last week. So coming down here, you can see that gap he's already got, and we're what, 90 seconds into the race. So up here I'm trying absolutely, look, 900 watts and I'm still not going past anyone. I mean, it was a course that is definitely more suited to a cross bike with some of these like grassy, draggy sections. Being on a hardtail mountain bike, apart from it being more comfortable for the bumps, which I needed, it was fast and ferocious. And this next drag in a second, you'll see here I've just like kept on the gas a little bit and gone dive bombed up the inside really to get a couple of extra places, and then bang, I am up into 4th place now. So not a bad first half a lap or 3/4 of a lap, but Kingston Wheelers go straight past and I wasn't quite on the wheel, so I'm like dangling in the headwind, and when you're on flat bars as well, you're basically a bloody kite. So I'm trying my best to get on his wheel, but I took out the tape there. Apology to the course creators, I absolutely swiped your tape out, which lost all my momentum, and then you can see the gaps are opening up now. And one thing I noticed, when you haven't been racing, your legs do not have the top end power when you're trying to put down these big efforts, these repeatable efforts. My legs were screaming at me and we were 2 minutes in, and you've got to survive 35 minutes of this, George. That's the good thing about summer cross, because it's only 35 minutes, you know you can sort of bury yourself a bit and it's going to be over in half an hour. 30 minutes of pain is about all I can tolerate at the moment. But what I did notice is my lungs were there at the moment. I am probably the fittest, not to blow my own trumpet, I'm probably the fittest I've ever been in terms of just like general fitness for running and stuff like that. But when you get on a bike, the importance of being specific for whatever sport you do is crazy. If you're not riding your bike, you're not going to have that top end power, and you're not going to be used to the effort going through your legs. It's just completely different. You think you can just be fit, but you need specificity, and that's the thing. There's the whole thing like, oh, train smart, blah, 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 when you haven't got a lot of time. But the honest answer is, you need to train hard, not smart, if you want to get fast on a bike. Train bloody hard, ride your bike a lot and you get fast. But you can see I am burning through matches doing 600, 700 watts trying to get back on the Kingston Wheelers wheel. You can see Andy from Satonia's got a pretty hefty gap now and we've only done 1 lap. So I'm just burning all my matches because I want to get on Kingston Wheeler's wheel before we get into that long draggy headwind section. But I just could not take this corner here to save my life. I was hitting the tape and all sorts. It was just tight, twisty. But right now, it looks like I'm close. But it was so hard to shut this gap down. And I'll be honest, I was quite surprised that I was even in this position right now. I was in 3rd place, and I genuinely thought the lights are probably going to go out soon. But you can see big effort again, 800 watts to try and shut that down. And I was getting close, and then I just couldn't quite make it happen through some terrible cornering there. But what ended up happening, the Kingston Wheelers guy just accelerates hard in a minute, and I was like, Georgie boy does not have the legs for this top end power. What I did notice is if I stayed at like a sustainable effort, I was fine. If there was any big attacks or big power sections, your boy could not do it. And especially when this bit here was all straight into a headwind, mountain bike wheels, flat bars, excuses. But honestly, it was just wicked to be out racing again and in the hurt locker. So sitting in 3rd place right now, and I'll be honest, I just had... Kingston Wheeler's taken out half the course, and he almost let me back on then. But yeah, I didn't quite have the minerals to get back on his wheel, and I had to just like... I had to ease off the gas a bit. This first 5 minutes, honestly, my legs have never screamed at me so much in a bike race, and it was purely just where they were not used to this effort, and if they're not used to it, it hurts. And eventually Kingston Wheelers started to get a little bit of a gap, and yeah, you can see he starts to open it up. It doesn't look like much, it wasn't a huge amount, and I just had to settle into a rhythm, recover from that early start. And the group behind eventually did catch me a couple of corners later, which I was more than happy to let them take the headwind. Trust me, because your boy didn't want to be in the headwind. So you can see I've pulled over here, and Rob from Hansling comes past. And he comes past like an absolute steam train, to be fair. And I was like, right, jump on, sit in the slipstream and try and recover now. This is where... And honestly, I genuinely thought I'm going to get dispatched when I thought I was trying to recover, because we were like going up these little risers, 400, 500, 700, 800 watts. Boy's going to absolutely blow his biscuit. And there was a split second here where I had to go to a pretty dark place just to hold the wheel. But thankfully, like, the corners were saving me a bit. Like, having good bike handling skills, doesn't matter if it's muddy, dry, when the course is nice and twisty, you can save so much energy and hold so much speed. But yeah, there was a split second where I was clinging on for dear life to stay in that top 3 battle, and eventually I managed to just like sit in, get a little bit of recovery, and I started to feel good again. I got like, once the legs had settled into it a bit and I'd got over that first 5 minutes of absolutely full gas, I started to feel a little bit better, and Rob takes a bit of a dodgy line there, and I decide to go back to the front in a second coming down here. And do you know what, I don't know what possessed me, but I thought, that gap to Kingston Wheelers doesn't look too far, so getting back into the battle for second was on, and I just absolutely ripped it, full ponies up here. And I don't know, it's one of those things where you were like thinking, oh, I've recovered enough, get back on it, and then I was like dying for a second, then going again. But you can see I'm trying to like get in an aero position now to close that gap down, and eventually, I don't know if Kingston Wheelers slowed down or if I was absolutely pinging, but I managed to shut the gap down, and we were back in the battle for second place. Unfortunately, if you look right over on the left there, that was Andy who was leading the race, and he had a monumental gap by this point. He was like probably 20-30 seconds ahead, but eventually I managed to get on the wheel, and I was an absolute wheel sucker right now. You can see me tucking in, getting aero, because I was just like, right, now you've got to recover. The battle is on, Georgie boy. We can get a second place at Summer Cyclocross. This is the Thursday Night World Champs, and the Kingston Wheelers guys were absolutely just ripping my legs off. Declan was just, every chance he got to put down the power. I don't know if he's like a time trialist or something like that, but he's got some power on the flats, this boy. He has got some ponies, I'll tell you that. But he went really wide here, and I am convinced he made one of those grunts. He done this intentionally because he wanted me to go through and not be a wheel sucker. So I did go through, and I tried to stay on the gas, but to be honest, the gas was nothing. We've got a little bit of action at Del Boy. Del Boy blocking me. Get over, Del Boy. I thought I'd leave this little clip in where we went past Dad, because I know that everyone wants to see Del Boy racing, and I think I might try and strap a camera to his bike next week if he's racing, if we go again. But yeah, so eventually the battle was on now. We were 20 odd minutes in. Kingston Wheelers comes back to the front and puts a big attack in. And after I'd been on the front for a bit, I was hurting. And I thought to myself, this could be it. George, but that terrible corner let me in. That's what I mean about cornering. I thought right now it was signed, sealed, delivered, dispatched. He put a big effort in. You can see the watts right now. I was over threshold. I was really having to punch out of each corner. The gap started to open up. And I was panicking right now, because I'm not going to lie, although I'm not focusing on my racing at the moment, I'm bloody competitive. When I get on that start line, I want to come as high up as I can. Thankfully, I managed to weather the storm and get back on his wheel just about. But yeah, I was in a bad way, and I was sort of thinking to myself, you're thinking, how can I win this race? Because you don't want to like lead it out and take the headwind at all if you can help it. So you can see here I'm just like tucked in, trying to do as little work as possible, because you got to keep the big nose out the wind, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes. But I could see Declan was like sort of not wanting to pull hard on the front. He sort of dropped down to like 150 watts there. I think we were both playing a bit of a tactical game, so I went back to the front, thought I'd put a bit of a surge in. Turns out Georgie boy had absolutely no surge, so I gave up on that option. I knew that I wasn't going to drop him, so I was sort of thinking it's going to come down to the last lap. Eventually we were caught by this under 16 rider for Palmer Park Velo. Strong boy. He was shifting, and I was just like, right, jump on his wheel. Honestly, lad's putting me in a pain cave. He's probably only 15 years old. The boys that are coming through these days are so strong. It is crazy. But the battle's on for second place. This young lad wanted me to take the front in a second. You'll see, I think it was here, he looked over and he sort of said to me, go on, you go through it. I was like, absolutely not. You are much stronger than me and fitter. Get back on the front, you little chump, and pull us along. And he did, but he nearly dropped me again. He flipping started attacking us. I think he was thinking, I'm not just going to tow him, so I'll put him deep in the hurt locker, which he did. But he dragged us along for like a lap or so, and eventually he just looked at me and said, you're coming back through, Georgie boy. But he did absolutely inject some pace back into the race for us, which was good, because I think me and Declan, the Kingston Wheelers rider, were looking at each other for a bit, and neither of us wanted to do the work. Well, I didn't want to do the work anyway, because your boy wanted to come second place. So this is the battle for second now. I think it is just round this corner. The Palmer Park Velo lads like, right, go on, go through. And I was like, flipping heck, you absolutely sold me here, and I'm gonna have to lead this out. We were coming into the bell lap, and Georgie boy's on the front. This is not a place I want to be in right now, I'm not gonna lie. And right now I was thinking, what's my best option? And I knew I didn't have the top end power, so I knew I was gonna have to go early in this race and see if I could just set like a strong pace to the finish line and drop them behind me and get that coveted silver medal in the Thursday Night World Champs. So into this bit here, as I come down this hill, this is where I knew I was going to attack, because I felt like I was getting quite a good exit on this corner, and then I was just going to absolutely rip it and try and get to the finish. It was probably 90 seconds of full gas, so I absolutely ripped it up here, like 900 plus watts. I was like, this is it, Georgie boy, full send, try and drop these chumps. And yeah, I got round this top corner here, realised I cannot sustain this to the finish line, looked over my shoulder and they were right on my wheel. I was like, oh no, I am in trouble, because I'm now leading them into a headwind section and I've absolutely burnt all my matches. I underestimated how far it was to the finish line, ladies and gentlemen, and just here I eased off the gas to try and let them through, and bang, the attack. It went past me so fast, I was practically stood still, and I tried to react to it, and your boy had absolutely no berries to give then, and I had to let them go. And unfortunately, your boy got played and absolutely dispatched at the end. But I managed to hold on to 3rd place overall in the senior race. We're not counting the junior because they don't have a full-time job. But we were 3rd place and it was wicked to be back racing. I hope you enjoyed this one. That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. 3rd place for me. I didn't actually vlog today. I just had the camera on the front of my bike. But Del Boy was racing, getting ready for the Gravel World Championships, and Gravel Granny was racing. She said she's not coming back. Gravel is life, bruh. But Del Boy absolutely smashed it. We are going to beat the 2 Ians at the gravel race.